So the next trend that we're going to look at are nano and micro influencers. And you can expect this coming year to see more and more brands and businesses working with nano and micro influencers. So what are nano influencers? So, a number of years ago, it was just influencers. Now they are tiered in terms of how many followers they have. So we have a good graphic here from Media Kicks, which shows that nano influencers are anyone with a following of over between 1,000 and 10,000 followers, and micro influencers between 10,000 and 50,000 followers. So in essence, we'll see more and more businesses working with influencers with under 50,000 followers. So just in terms of the nano influencer, obviously someone with less than 10,000 followers, they typically have unpolished feeds, they have personal content, they have little or no paid promotions or paid partnerships. It's more personal content, and there's authentic interactions. Their friends are commenting on it, their family are commenting on it. So they're really sort of small level influencers, but they have that personal and authentic interaction. Micro influencers between 10 and 50,000, they are maybe a little bit more polished. They have some paid promotions, they have some paid partnerships. They typically will go out of their way to create content about specific niche interests, be it construction, be it health and safety, be it beauty, be it children and parenting, and so on. So they'll have specific niche interests. They tend to command authority in areas of these interests. So they're positioning themselves as an expert in that field. So you can see the difference between nano and micro influencers, but we see more and more businesses work with them over the next 12 months. Why? I suppose because mid-tier plus, anyone above that 50,000 level of followers, can often come at a high price. I've heard various costs between £1,000 per series of posts, £5,000 per series of posts, £500 for one live video. So they can come at an expensive or a high price. Today's consumers are also increasingly gravitating towards more authentic experiences. We've seen that in the second trend. This younger demographic wants authentic experiences. They want personal connection, and they're gravitating towards that, and they're more open to engaging with brands and influencers. They not only offer the value, but also that authenticity, as we mentioned. And despite smaller followings, 10,000 followers, under 50,000 followers, these nano and micro influencers often have higher engagement rates than that of macro influencers. So anyone, 500,000 to a million level, those micro and mid-tier followers, they often have higher engagement rates. And an Aspire report measured lots and lots of influencers, over 5,000 influencers across the world, and they measured their engagement rates. And then the nano micro influencer engagement rate was 3.69%. The micro influencer average engagement rate was 2.25%. The mid-tier average engagement rate was 1.62%, and the macro influencer average engagement rate was 1.61%. So whereas you don't get as much reach with the lower level influencers, you do get that engagement, and that feeds back into that authentic experience, that human interaction, which can be really, really influential on social media. So how can you scope out and find micro and nano influencers? Well, first of all, you need to be clear about where you want your brand to go, who you want them to be associated with, the positioning, and this is all marketing, I suppose, in terms of how you want to position your brand. Look at your own followers, first of all. Is there anyone that is currently engaging with your page that could become a nano influencer, or that you can leverage? Start using relevant hashtags and keywords on social platforms to see if you get any traction on those. Also, use the search bar in Facebook, use it in LinkedIn, use it in Twitter, and search for keywords and hashtags related to your business and your industry. Does anyone feature a number of times, who's part of the current conversations that's going on in the world of wastewater treatment, in health and safety, in finance. Who are the people, and what levels of following do they have? You can also use social media tools, paid tools such as Social Bakers to find influencers, Follower Wonk, BuzzSumo to see, in a geographic region, what are the keywords, and who is posting about these keywords. There are also, tons of influencer agencies in Northern Ireland and further afield that can help partner you with certain influencers. They'll have a database of influencers that you can access. They do tend to be maybe slightly above that micro influencer, but there's a gap there for people to connect, I think, the nano and micro influencers to brands. What you can also do is attend industry related events, scope out influencers. Is if there's a Twitter wall, if there's a Twitter hashtag, who is using it. Keep an eye on the social media streams to see who's talking about the event, and you can find industry influencers there, both micro and nano. And obviously, whenever you do reach out to somebody, be sure first of all to analyze their existing content. Make sure there's nothing there that would negatively affect your brand. So certainly ask them to do a cleanse of anything that might be seen as negative, or if you do see things that are negative, move on and choose somebody else. But certainly we see a lot of traction and a lot of interest in nano and micro influencers over the next 12 months.